Hey guys, Coach Brian here, and this week's episode, I'm going to talk about something very important, something I've spent a lot of time studying, not just in the last couple of months, couple of years, but really the course of my career as a sports athlete and as an adult, as an everyday athlete. And it's a very important topic I want to share with you guys. It's about breaking plateaus and the 4'V's to breaking plateaus. Now, when I'm talking about the 4'V's, it's really much bigger than just cycling your carbs and macros and mixing things up from a training standpoint when it comes to tempo and days of the week, supersets, periodization. I want to take it to another level, as we always do. Although those are important when it comes to the training side of things, I like to look at the big picture, and that's exactly what we focus on. What we're focusing on with the program is looking at the whole picture, the holistic approach. And every time that I get a chance to sit and talk with athletes, there's a few things that become missing. There's a few things that become mismatched in different places, a little bit unorganized. And the 4'V's I want to share with you are things that are paramount, and they actually are in order of the way that we got to assess. And it's something that I've recently been going through with myself is when I get into a plateau, and we all know the plateaus. We've all been in that spot, in that space where the needle's just not moving. We're stuck in this spot. We're stuck in the spot where it's really not that bad, it's really not that good, but it's just not progressing to the next level. So we got to stop. We got to reassess, because if we don't assess, then we're just guessing. So I took some time. I spent a lot of time when I'm connecting with athletes to really dig deep, and I ask questions in different orders. But really, when it starts off, the first V I want to share with you guys is values. Values. It's going to be right up here. Values. It's extremely important. Your values are the foundation for what you really want. Now, so many times people write down first what they want, what their goals are, what their vision is, and that's fantastic. We even go through that process. But spending time, I asked a question to a lot of people. I interviewed a lot of people over the last couple months, and one of the questions I asked them was, what are your values? What are your personal values? And majority of people couldn't answer that question. Now, what I realized what was so important, of the people that could answer the question, understood exactly what their vision was, understood exactly what they wanted. Now, they may have been some hiccups along the way. But what was most important, the things I learned that people that were having the most success were the people who knew exactly who they were and who they weren't. They're the ones that are most self-aware. And it starts with values, understanding what you want, what's really most important to you. You know, is it fame? Is it money? Is it autonomy? Is it freedom? Is it happiness? Is it family? Is it friends? Is it fortune? There's a lot of things that the world may try to impose its values onto you. But one of the most important things we talk about all the time with being self-aware is understanding who you are and what you stand for. So if it's something you haven't done before, I want to give you an exercise for each of these V's to take some time and go through in the next couple of days. First, write down your values. Who are you? What do you stand for? Because if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. And it's most important when you're trying to accomplish anything in life, anything great, it starts off with understanding who you are first to take it to the next level. So that first exercise, that first V's is values. Write down your values, your 3 values, your 5 values, whatever the things that you value the most in your life. The second V it comes to vision. Now, this is one of the things working with a lot of athletes when they have a vision, but they're not quite sure what their values are. It's kind of like sometimes putting the cart before the horse. When you understand what your values are, it's very clear. It's a very clear vision that you can operate in, because you don't get distracted of the things that aren't important to you. It becomes very set. You don't get distracted because you know what you value, you know what you don't value, you know who you are, you know what's important, you know what's not important. Then that's when we create that vision. We create that game plan for success. We can actually see it. We can take the things that matter the most in our lives, and we can put them towards a vision where we can see that life coming into one. We can manifest that into a vision. Now, a vision a lot of times isn't something that may be very tangible, but it paints a picture. So as we go through this vision exercise, we get a chance to go through with our athletes, writing that, telling that story, explain that picture to yourself. What does that vision look like for you? And the question you have to ask yourself, the second thing is that, does your vision align with your values? So it's really important. You got to ask yourself that question. Number one is, what's your values? That goes to the V. The second thing when it comes to vision is, does your vision of success, does the vision of the lifestyle that you want align to the values that are most important to you? Now, the third V I want to share with you is a big one. It's probably one of the biggest ones that become breaking the threshold of any plateau. And I know it's been paramount for me, and it's paramount for so many people who get to this third step. It's the scariest one of all. It's the scariest V of all, vulnerability. Being vulnerable, embracing the unknown. And that's really what vulnerability is all about. Vulnerability is having faith. It's the conviction and the belief of something bigger, and that you believe in something that is much greater than what you want, but you continue to pursue based on all the scary things that are in front of you. And that's tough at times for a lot of people. And vulnerability has many different faces, it has many different forms, it has many different people that can come at us. Sometimes it's our friends. Sometimes it's speaking our message. It's having a voice. It's sharing. And I can tell you what, I've dealt with more vulnerable situations than I can shake a stick. Not being a speaker, sharing what I love, sharing what I'm most passionate about. And sometimes we're gonna get the toughest critics of those that are closest to us. Friends, family, people that are closest to us in our lives. It puts us in a vulnerable situation. It's tough, it's scary. But the real question to success that we have to ask ourselves isn't just what we want, is that what are we willing to sacrifice to get what we want? And we talk about this all the time. This is such an important question when it comes to vulnerability. What are you willing to sacrifice to get what you want? Because it's easy to want stuff. It's easy to have a vision, writing down, having your values, having a vision. But that $1 million question when it comes to getting your results, what are you willing to sacrifice? It could be training, getting up early, staying up late, getting it in regardless, making some random times in your day to make it part of your routine. Sometimes it could be sharing in front of people, sharing a message, speaking your truth, and doing it knowing that people are going to criticize you, knowing people are going to say things about you, knowing that there are going to be haters in the world that aren't going to agree with what you're saying or what you're trying to do or who you're trying to serve, but you speaking your truth and understanding what's most important to you. And I share that one specifically is because that's such a big part of my values and being vulnerable and putting myself out there. So I want to encourage you, what are the things that you're willing to do? What are the things that you're willing to sacrifice to get what you want? It's the third question. The fourth V is victory. When it comes to victory, it's what are the victories for you? What are your metrics for success? See, when you know your values, when you know your vision, and you know what your vulnerabilities are and being able to embrace those vulnerabilities and put yourself in a very vulnerable situation with confidence, passion, and persistence, then we set up ourselves for the metrics of success. What is success to you? What are the victories in your life that are tangible, concrete, and objective? When we identify those, now it becomes crystal clear. As I spend so much time sitting down with so many athletes, a lot of times people can tell me one of those things, but most of the time it's not in that order. And it's most important, our foundation, that we get back to who we are. And we talk about this all the time, self-awareness, self-awareness. Well, that self-awareness comes down to our values. Embrace that in your vision. Embrace that even more in the struggle, in the discomfort that comes with being vulnerable. Because we all know when we embrace a vulnerable situation and we make it all the way through, that's when we feel the most empowered. Because it's typically not as scary as we once perceived that it once was before. And that's what that empowerment is all about. And then set yourself up for victories. That's what Define Your Fit is all about. Set yourself up for those victories, but you've got to define them. You've got to set yourself up for success. So this week, guys, I want you to take some time. I want you to dissect this. We're 3 months into the year. But no matter what in this journey is, let's go back to the foundation. These are the 4 V's to breaking plateaus. Values, vision, vulnerability, and aligning your victories. So guys, let's take some charge. Let's be self-aware. As always, let's continue to play with passion, operate with purpose, and live our greatest life possible. Let's make it happen. Thanks, guys.